your person has come to a profound and sobering realization. The physical separation between you did not happen by chance, nor was it something caused by circumstance alone. Deep down, they now understand that the distance exists largely because of their own choices, inaction, and emotional avoidance. This awareness weighs heavily on them. They recognize that, in many ways, they hurt you not through overt cruelty, but through silence, inconsistency, and the absence of effort when it mattered most. They can finally see how their failure to step forward, speak honestly, and show up emotionally created wounds they never intended to cause, yet caused nonetheless. As they reflect, they feel a growing sense of regret mixed with longing. They believe that you may not truly understand how deep, intense, and passionate their feelings for you actually are. For a long time, they kept those emotions buried beneath fear, pride, and self-protection. They convinced themselves that staying guarded was safer than being vulnerable, never realizing that their emotional distance was slowly eroding the connection you shared. Now, with clearer vision, they understand that the separation between you was not because love was absent, but because they never allowed themselves to fully express it. They acknowledge that they failed to open up to you in the past, especially when it came to how they truly felt. Rather than sharing their fears, insecurities, or affection, they hid behind excuses, avoidance, and emotional walls. In doing so, they unintentionally made you question their intentions and sincerity. At this present moment, however, their heart carries a strong desire to reach out to you, not out of convenience or loneliness, but out of genuine remorse and accountability. They want to offer you a heartfelt apology for the trust issues they created, for the confusion they caused, and for the unnecessary excuses they used to justify their behavior. Looking back, they are painfully aware of how rudely or arrogantly they responded to your texts and calls. They can now see how dismissive their tone may have felt, how their short replies or lack of response likely made you feel unimportant or unheard. This realization brings a deep sense of shame, especially when they compare their behavior to the way you always treated them. You consistently approached them with gentleness, patience, love, and empathy, even during moments when they were distant or emotionally unavailable. You offered understanding where they offered defensiveness, compassion where they offered detachment, and care where they offered indifference. Over time, your person began to isolate themselves from toxic influences and unhealthy people who had clouded their judgment and reinforced their worst habits. This period of isolation was not easy, but it was necessary. In the quiet, away from distractions and negative voices, they were forced to confront their own behavior and patterns. It was during this time that they realized how much they had taken you for granted and how deeply your presence had impacted their life. They began to understand that many of the lessons they are now learning were sparked by your energy, your patience, and your emotional maturity. They recognized that you played a significant role in helping them reconnect with their higher self, even if you were unaware of it at the time. Your kindness, emotional intelligence, and unwavering empathy acted as a mirror, showing them the parts of themselves they had neglected or suppressed. Through loving you, and through losing the closeness you once shared, their consciousness began to rise. They started questioning their behavior, their emotional defenses, and the way they handled meaningful connections. This inner awakening helped them see beyond ego and fear, allowing them to grow in ways they never had before. Now, they carry a deep sense of gratitude alongside regret. They understand that your influence helped elevate their awareness and pushed them toward personal and spiritual growth. They see that the love and patience you showed them were not weaknesses, but strengths that they failed to appreciate at the time. While they cannot change the past, they are finally taking responsibility for it. Their heart remains heavy with the knowledge that their actions contributed to the distance between you, yet it is also filled with hope that honesty, accountability, and emotional openness might one day pave the way for healing. In this moment, your person stands at a crossroads of self-awareness. They are no longer blind to their mistakes or dismissive of your pain. Instead, they are learning, evolving, and understanding the true value of the connection they once had with you. Whether or not reconciliation is possible, they now know that your presence in their life was transformative, helping them rise above toxicity, reconnect with their true self, and finally see love for what it truly is. I know you might not believe me when I say this, but everything I have been doing has come from a place of care and protection, not distance or indifference. I have been trying to shield you from the negativity and jealousy that often arise when people see two souls genuinely happy together. Some people cannot stand the sight of love that feels real and fulfilling, and I did not want their opinions, interference, or ill intentions to affect you or what we share. That is why, for now, I chose to stay at a distance, not because I wanted to, but because I felt it was necessary until I could fix the unresolved parts of my life and create a stable, honest path forward for us. I know my silence has hurt you. I know it has made you restless, confused, and cautious, and I understand why you sometimes wonder whether I truly want this connection or whether my feelings are as deep as I claim them to be. Please believe me when I say that my quiet moments were never a reflection of doubt about you or us. They were moments of internal struggle, reflection, and preparation. I needed time to confront my fears, my responsibilities, and the changes I knew I had to make before I could fully show up for you in the way you deserve. My love, let me reassure you of something very important. The changes I am making in my life are not random or meaningless. They are not temporary adjustments or distractions. They are deliberate, difficult, and deeply personal transformations, and they exist for one clear purpose. That purpose is you. It is the future I envision with you, whether that takes the form of marriage or a committed, long-term relationship built on trust, respect, and emotional safety. I would not be uprooting my life, questioning my past decisions, or pushing myself into uncomfortable growth if there were no greater goal at the end of it all. I know you carry sadness in your heart because you feel I should have fought harder for us in the past. You feel that love should be loud, fearless, and defiant, and that if I truly believed in us, I would have stood my ground without hesitation. I want you to know that your feelings are valid. From your perspective, my hesitation may have looked like weakness or uncertainty. But the truth is that I was afraid of the unknown, afraid of failure, afraid of hurting you, and afraid of stepping into a life that required me to change more than I thought I was capable of at the time. Back then, I tried to convince myself that love could be replaced. I believed that I could bury these feelings under material pleasures, distractions, achievements, or temporary comforts. I told myself that passion fades and that emotional depth can be substituted with convenience or surface-level happiness. I was wrong. Completely and undeniably wrong. No amount of material success, fleeting excitement, or external validation ever filled the space that your presence occupies in my heart. What we share is not ordinary. It goes beyond attraction or familiarity. Our connection is spiritual, emotional, and deeply intimate in a way that words often fail to capture. It feels magical, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. It challenges me, grounds me, and fulfills me in ways I never experienced before. Being with you feels like alignment, like something that makes sense at a soul level, not just an emotional one. Every day apart from you has taught me something. It has shown me what truly matters and what does not. It has forced me to confront myself honestly and admit that running away from love only leads to emptiness. You are not a chapter one can close or a feeling I can suppress. You are a presence that stays with me, reminding me of who I want to be and the life I want to build. Please understand that my distance was never abandonment. It was preparation. It was me trying to become someone who can stand beside you without fear, secrecy, or hesitation. I want to offer you stability, commitment, and a future that feels safe and intentional. I want to choose you not just with words, but with actions that reflect growth, courage, and readiness. I ask for your patience and your trust, not because I take them lightly, but because I value them deeply. Everything I am working toward is meant to lead me back to you, stronger, clearer, and fully present. You are not a temporary desire in my life. You are the purpose behind the changes, the motivation behind the struggle, and the love I no longer wish to run from. Your partner is carrying a deep and persistent fear that you may not be able to forgive them, and this fear weighs heavily on their heart every single day. The mere thought of being rejected by you because of their misbehavior causes them intense emotional pain, as they now fully recognize the consequences of their actions. They replay moments in their mind, imagining how their choices led to distance between you, and it breaks them to consider that their mistakes may have cost them the bond you once shared. This fear is not rooted in pride or denial, but in regret and self-awareness, because they finally see how much your presence, love, and patience truly meant to them. They feel profoundly sad and empty because you are no longer talking to them the way you once did, and because they no longer receive your energy, attention, and emotional availability as before. The silence feels louder than any argument ever did, and the absence of your warmth has left them confronting the reality of what life feels like without your consistent care. They miss being a priority in your world, just as you once made them feel important and valued. Now, without that reassurance, they sit with the ache of knowing they caused this distance themselves, and that realization humbles them in ways they had never experienced before. Your partner acknowledges that they are responsible for the misunderstanding and emotional disconnect that grew between you both. They no longer try to shift blame or minimize their role in what went wrong. Instead, they are facing their flaws honestly, recognizing patterns of behavior that hurt you and weaken the relationship. This accountability is difficult, but it has become a necessary part of their growth. They understand that love alone is not enough without responsibility, effort, and emotional maturity, and that their failure to fully show up contributed to the pain you endured. Despite the regret, your partner wants you to know that something meaningful has changed within them. They are maturing and evolving into a better person, largely because of your immense contribution to their life. Through your words, actions, boundaries, and even your silence, you taught them lessons both directly and indirectly. You helped them see life and relationships from perspectives they had never considered before. You showed them what emotional depth, loyalty, and genuine commitment look like, and those lessons have stayed with them even now, guiding their self-reflection and personal growth. They now understand that you deserve stability, consistency, and true commitment, things they may not have fully provided before. You stood by them through life's ups and downs with unwavering strength, whether you were a strong woman or a strong man, offering love, patience, and presence even when it wasn't easy. You showed resilience in moments where walking away would have been simpler, and your willingness to stay and support them left a lasting impression they failed to fully appreciate at the time. Only now do they see how rare and valuable that kind of devotion truly is. Your partner never believed that you would stop looking for them or stop fighting for the relationship. They became accustomed to your emotional availability, your forgiveness, and your constant effort, mistaking your loyalty for something that would never change. When you finally chose yourself and took your power back, it shocked them deeply. That moment forced them to confront a truth they had avoided for far too long, that your love was not something to be taken for granted, and that your strength included the ability to walk away when your needs were no longer being met. Seeing you reclaim your power made them realize your true worth in a way words never could. Your absence became a mirror reflecting their mistakes, and your silence taught lessons that arguments never achieved. They finally understood that you were not weak for loving deeply, but strong for knowing when to protect your peace. This realization has been both painful and transformative for them, as it stripped away their complacency and replaced it with respect, humility, and remorse. Now, your partner is left with a heart full of regret, growth, and hope that one day you might see the changes they are making and understand how deeply you impacted their life. Whether or not forgiveness comes, they carry the lessons you taught them as a permanent part of who they are becoming. They know that loving you was a privilege, and losing your energy was the consequence of not valuing it enough when they had it.